It's mock draft time once again here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Another full 7-round mock to see who I would take with the Niners selections as we continue to approach the NFL draft, which is coming your way on Thursday from Detroit. And here on the 49ers Report, we're going to be live for every single day, every single round, talking about every single pick with some great coverage to come right here on the show. Let's set the table here by looking at the Niners draft picks so far as of right now in the upcoming draft. First on the clock, round 1, 31st overall. They have a second-round selection at pick 63, a third-round pick, 94th, and then a couple of fourth-rounders, pick 124 from Dallas in the Trey Lance trade, 132 and 135. 3 compensatory picks consecutively there. Round 5, pick 176. Round 6, pick 211. Round 6, 215. And then a 7th round pick at 251 overall. So 10 picks in totality for San Francisco going into the draft as of this recording. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit in the first round for San Francisco. I get it that the priority is and the need is offensive line help, but I'd say the second biggest need for San Francisco going into the 2024 season is cornerback. Also keep in mind that Charvarius Ward, Deommodore Lenoir, Isaac Yiadom, Chase Lucas, Ambry Thomas, all going to be free agents at the cornerback spot for San Francisco. So you need an influx of youth at this position, and I'm going best player available. In the draft simulator, Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama fell to me at 31. I could not pass him up. I really like the player. You can make the argument he could end up being the best cornerback in this class, and if you get the best corner in this draft class with the 31st overall pick, that is excellent value. He did not run at the NFL Combine because of a Jones fracture in his foot, which was discovered that week, but he did run at his pro day. And with that broken foot, he still ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. He is expected to come back from that and be 100% for training camp. Solid size at the DB spot, 5'11", $199. I like his balance. I like his fluid hips, allowing him to change direction. He has 32-inch arms, not bad for a corner, allowing him to jam at the line of scrimmage. He reads the eyes of wide receivers well, which I think is an underrated skill from a DB because it can allow you to look at the eyes of a wide receiver, then turn around and make plays on the football. He would give San Francisco some special teams ability. The Niners earlier this week did bring back Trent Taylor on a 1-year deal, and he's averaged about 9 yards per punt throughout his career, but Kool-Aid has a little bit more wiggle to the likes of Ray McCloud. I love McKinstry's dog mentality and his confidence. He will not be scared against any player in the National Football League. The weaknesses here, the speed is just okay on tape, but the 4.47 maybe a little bit better than what people anticipated. That did come out his pro day, so maybe those numbers juiced a little bit. He did only have 2 interceptions in 2,199 snaps, but he's been a durable player. Missed no games for Alabama. He's one of my favorite corners in this draft class, and this is a very good cornerback class as far as the upper echelon players at that position go. After about round 1, there's a drop-off, but then I also really like some of the slot corners, like a Mike Sainristil still out of Michigan. Here's my cornerback big board. I don't think Quinion Mitchell is going to be available within range for San Francisco. Kool-Aid McKinstry is my second best corner in this class, followed by his teammate in Terrion Arnold, Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, a 4.3 40-yard dash guy, and then Cooper DeJean, just a Swiss Army knife and an all-around excellent athlete at the next level, could be a corner safety hybrid. Daniel Jeremiah, very well-respected draft analyst for NFL Network, said that Kool-Aid McKinstry is actually the best fit among corners for what the Niners like to do defensively. When you look at what he's done just over the last few weeks, he gets a chance to show that he's healthy coming off that foot injury. He ran a really fast time, faster than I expected. I know that, and that was one of the big question marks for him. The Texas game was not his best, but I thought he got better as the season went along and has played a lot of good football there at Alabama. The 49ers, a team that is going to play with a lead, and you need 2 things with that. You need pass rushers, and you need corners. Kool-Aid McKinstry has been well trained at Alabama, and I think he's ready to play right away. Him being ready to play right away, he could be the number 2 corner opposite of Mooney Ward, and then you keep Diamador Lenore in the slot. With that, let's ask you this. What position would you go in round 1 if you're this Niners front office? Cornerback, offensive line, or other? And if it's a different position, list which one down in the comment section. A popular player mocked to the Niners has been right tackle for Washington, Roger Rosengarten. I think he's a stretch. I think he's a little bit of a reach at 31, but here in this mock draft simulation, he was available at number 63. So if the Niners like him so much, this too is really good value, But you're also getting the best player available in Kool-Aid McKinstry at 31 overall, and you're getting the best player available, in my opinion, here in the second round at this juncture with the player in Roger Rosengarten, who John Lynch and Chris Forrester last weekend went to Seattle to scout some Washington pro prospects. They watched him up close and personal. Then they worked with him individually after the rest of the team worked out. Pretty good scouting profile here. He's 6'5", 308 pounds. He ran the fastest 40-yard dash among all offensive tackles at the NFL Scouting Combine. He clocked a 4.92, which is stupid speed at 308 pounds. Light basketball feet, you always want that from an offensive tackle on the perimeter there. Good hands to block and finish. He can really climb to that second level, allowing him to be disruptive in the screen game. He's been durable the last 2 years, started all 28 games for Washington, and then helped them obviously go to the national championship this past year. Not a huge lower frame, so sometimes he can lose his balance at times. If he did go back to school, Mel Kiper made the argument he could be a top 10 pick, but he's deciding to forego that eligibility to declare for the draft now. This is a player with so much upside and development, and he was coached, by the way, at Valor Christian High School in Colorado by Ed McCaffrey, the father of Christian McCaffrey. Another programming reminder here. We're going to be live for the NFL Draft right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report every day, every pick, every round, in-depth scouting profiles, any draft selections that the Niners do make. We're really going to teach you about that prospect right here on the show. And today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the game. They make daily fantasy sports so easy where you just pick 2 or more players, you choose more or less on their projected stat totals, and you can win some big-time money. Big-time deposit match if you use that link at the bottom of your screen, prizepicks.com/CLNS. It's a $100 deposit match. Some of the futures that we like here, Christian McCaffrey for the 2024 season, he had 2,000 all-purpose yards last year. If he stays healthy, I think he's a shoo-in for more than 1,150.5 rushing yards. Michael Pittman, can he get 1,100? I think he can after getting the bag. And then Derrick Henry in that backfield with Lamar Jackson. I like that move for Baltimore. I think that King Henry has some gas left in the tank, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns. Win big money, withdraw your winnings, all within the Prize Picks app. Pick more, pick less. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now to round 3, 94th overall selection. We keep it in the family. Brendan Rice, the son of Jerry, is a player who I really, really like. And I think that he could play right away as a slot wide receiver, not quite ready as far as the body type goes to be an outside wide receiver. That's fine. You have Brandon Ayuk, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Jawan Jennings. Brendan Rice wouldn't have a lot of pressure on him, and he would be a very good number 3 or number 4 option at that wide receiver spot. San Francisco clearly interested in the player. They met with Brendan Rice at the NFL Combine, and then they brought him into Santa Clara on a 30 visit. I don't think they're just doing that because his dad is the GOAT of all wide receivers and one of, if not the best Niners of all time, in Jerry Rice. I think legitimately, when they scout and evaluate the player, they like what Brendan Rice brings to the field. I do too. 6'2", 208, 4.5 40-yard dash, so good size, good speed. I like the bulk there. I think he can add on to his frame. A good vertical leap and good vertical speed, which I think is underrated because he can take the top off of the defense. Also good body control. We saw that in the pro day with some of the long throws that Caleb Williams was uncorking. We saw it on tape as Rice had 12 touchdowns this past year, one of 8 players in FBS to do that. His kick return average with the special teams value, 25.2 yards per kick return. The separation quickness, just okay. Uses his good footwork and good route running sometimes to get that separation in addition to that speed. But I think he slots in well to start in as a slot wide receiver for San Francisco. Kalen Bullock, the safety out of USC. Another player who I like. He's wiry, he's a little bit thin, but he plays fast, has some good ball skills. The Niners are looking for a center field type of safety, and that's what Bullock is. So back-to-back players from USC here, and the Niners also brought in Bullock for a visit this week to Santa Clara to take a look at the facility. He took a photo of Levi's Stadium. He posted it on his Instagram page, and at the NFL Combine, he talked about Talanoa Hufanga, who went to USC in addition to this Niners defense. And here's exactly what Kalen Bullock had to say about that.
I watch this game a lot. I've been watching Talanoa since he's been at USC. Sadly, he left the year right when I got there to go to the NFL. But Talanoa, he's been like a big brother. He always texts me, congratulate me, make sure that I know that he's with me. And if I ever need anything, I know I can ask him for anything. Yeah, the defensive line, I think 49ers have one of the best defensive line and defenses in the NFL right now.
And these 30 visits, they're not the end-all, be-all, right? But it allows you as an organization to scout the prospect, interact with the prospect, get some important information, and just grab some good information and a feel for what that player could bring to your organization. What he could bring to the football field. The Niners have scouted this player a bunch, I imagine, so they kind of know that, but they want to know the personality, how he could get along with some of his teammates, how he adds to this Niners culture. 6'2", 188 pounds, 4.48, 40-yard dash speed. He is a fluid and smooth athlete with a lot of center field range. I think he anticipates very, very well, and that speed allows him to close on the football and close on players very, very quickly. Has length and ball skills with some long arms, 293 special team snaps throughout his career at USC. Versatility here too. And I always like players who can offer you versatility because they just give you more reasons to put him on the football field. He played a little bit of nickel and in the slot at USC as well. The concern for me, 188 pounds for a safety, he's skinny. And his nickname, I think, is like Skinny or Bones or something along those lines. So it's real. Like, he does have some smaller legs, some smaller arms, but I like what I saw on tape from him. And the other concern, what position is he? Some NFL draft evaluators think that maybe he's a slot corner. Other people think that he's a safety. I more so think he's a safety because of that center field range. And what have we talked about all throughout this offseason? That the 49ers have been looking at safeties this offseason in free agency. They haven't signed one yet. So are they going to go that route in the NFL draft? And if they do so, Kalen Bullock, a good option. I think it's important to start planning for the post-George Kittle days, and we're going to do that here with the 132nd overall pick with Jared Wiley out of TCU. We've talked about him a lot here on the show because I happen to like the player. And George Kittle is still playing at an elite level, but look, Father Time is undefeated. And then financially, Brock Purdy contract extension is looming. They haven't signed Brandon Ayuk to a deal yet. Charvarius Ward, Deommodore Lenoir, Talanoa Hufanga. You have to start planning financially for the post-prime core player days, but also with George Kittle too, because at some point you might have to move off of him in order to save some money to pay to a Brock Purdy or a Brandon Ayuk to keep that younger nucleus together. Wiley has terrific size. He stands at 6'6", 249 pounds, 4.62 40-yard dash was about a second slower than George Kittle, but at that size, it's good movement. The size in the frame, I think, is going to be able to add bulk. The ball skills, the tracking, the catch radius, all important, especially when you're going down the seam and when you utilize tight ends as much as San Francisco likes to. Not the blocker that Kittle is, but that's always something that you can develop with your game. Wiley can use his body to kind of finish in traffic. I want you all to do yourselves a favor. Go look at his 81-yard touchdown against Baylor this past year. The breakaway speed, just very impressive. He also had 5 red zone touchdowns in 2023. Number 1 among all tight ends in college football. Not a great tackle breaker like George Kittle is. 1 year of production, and he's a little bit older at 24 years old. But if he's an impact player for the next 4, 5, 6 years, you're not really worried about how old he is as a rookie. 5 more selections to get to for the mock draft here. Cade Wallace, offensive tackle, offensive guard out of Penn State. I would love the value here and the potential upside of him at 135 overall. As we near the draft, he's starting to garner a little bit more hype and buzz. Brennan Jackson plays with his hair on fire with a lot of effort. I think the Niners need some edge rusher depth. He flashed on tape out of Washington State. We go with him, 176 overall. Evan Anderson was in for a visit with the Niners in the pre-draft process, so clearly they're doing their due diligence on the player. Defensive tackle out of FAU. Kamani Vidal, running back out of Troy, is one of the best run-blocking running backs in the country. Kyle Shanahan loves his running backs who can pass protect. And one of my draft sleepers, a player who I really, really like, is linebacker Jordan McGee. He's a little bit thinner, but he's really quick. And the Niners have taken chances on linebackers who have a DB background, who also might be a little bit thinner, who are very quick from sideline to sideline. They get these linebackers in their program. They add a little bit of bulk to them, and they end up being stars. And Jordan McGee is instinctual. He's drawn the attention of a Daniel Jeremiah, who tweeted out a little while ago, I'm not sure why he's not getting more hype. He played at Temple University. I went there. That's just not why I'm making the pick. I really like the player here in Jordan McGee. I think that he can end up being a late-round steal. And honestly, if he's available at 251 overall, I might be surprised because I think smart teams might take a chance on him a little bit earlier. So that is my latest mock draft. Brand new. That new, as the kids like to say. Grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. You can love me. You can hate me. Either way, let me know what you think of it down in the comment section.